Welcome to the worst thing you have ever done. Please introduce yourselves.
My name is Sabrina Cooper. I'm the owner of Black Castle Productions, the executive producer and producer of Worst Thing That You've Ever Done.
My name is Jonathan James. I am a producer on Worst Thing You've Ever Done with Black Castle Productions.
I'm PJ Germain. I am the director and one of the writers of Worst Thing You've Ever Done.
I'm Havilah Malone. I'm executive producer and head casting director on The Worst Thing You've Ever Done. So we are here today with the top of the line crew for Worst Thing You Have Ever Done short film. And we want to bring you inside to have a conversation about the making of this film and why we want you to be a part of this process. So we're going to start with, why is this film even being created right now? So I want to bring it to the producers of the film through Black Castle Productions and just share with us a little bit why you all chose to do this film.
Well, we have not done a horror, and Jonathan and I are huge horror fans. We received the script in 2020 when our goal was to make a short film every month. We asked for scripts that were done in 1 to 2 locations and had less than 10 people in it. This was one of our scripts. It was insanely popular with all the directors we thought we were going to work with, but unfortunately the pandemic happened and that did not happen. So here we are back again. We've done a rewrite, brought PJ on as our director, and we're looking at even creating a feature around it for Black Castle Productions.
And so I want to turn it over to you, PJ, as the director and writer of this piece. Why was this important to you to be a part of this particular production and to work with Black Castle?
Yeah, I previously worked with Sabrina and Jonathan on a film actually during the pandemic. We started pre-pro before the pandemic, and then for a film called Bend in the Road. And I think it was the first film that we decided to do for that like film every month kind of thing.
No, The Many Adventures of Garrett and Sabrina.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
That was where we kind of like really found that love for working together, I think. Even though we've known each other for a decade or more, we've talked about working together, and that was kind of our first foray, those first 2 projects. They had talked about this film quite a bit, about, saying that like a lot of the other directors really want to do this one, and I hadn't read it yet, and I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I would, if you don't have a director, eventually I would love to take a crack at it. And so eventually it ended up falling in my lap, and we started talking about it, and I really connected with the material because it's always been something that I wanted to do, where it kind of take part of my high school experience and put that on the screen. We had a script that was written by another writer named Autumn, and it was a great script, but I felt that there was just there was something missing for us to connect to. And so I took it upon myself to rewrite the film and reimagine it in a way where, we cared about certain characters in a certain way, so that there was a bigger emotional catharsis at the end.
You made mention about taking this story, adding elements to it, and becoming a very personalized story, because we see a big theme throughout this film is that of seeing our main character, Aaron, being bullied. And so was that something that was taken from your own personal experiences?
I definitely think just growing up in small town upstate New York, being one of the very few families of color in that town, there's a lot of bullying that happened, and it may not have always been so overt, but sometimes it was under the surface. And that was something that I constantly dealt with growing up. And I think that kind of translated, that idea and that feeling translated with the relationship with Aaron and Keith, is that you have a kid who on the surface is being bullied, but then you have another person who underneath the surface has been bullied, but he's able to navigate those relationships to where it doesn't bother him on the surface. And those 2 characters are both parts of myself.
And I think this is why Jonathan and I picked this script, is because it's a universal feeling in your teenage years to feel left out, to be picked on for no reason.
Absolutely, and that need to feel belonging, and having gone through traumatic experiences, whether that could be in childhood or in adulthood. You know, all of us go through that in some way, shape, or form. And so this film really speaks to that and will really resonate with people in a lot of different ways. And so, speaking of the film, what was, and this goes to each of you, what was the best part and the worst part about the creation of this film so far?
The best part is working with all my friends again. We have a very close, tight-knit group of people that we've worked with for years, if not decades. And some of them are like grips that you don't get to work with all the time because they're on other shows. But as soon as you're like, hey, we're going to film, they'll drop whatever they're doing and they'll come work with you because they are your friends and they know you're not going to abuse them on set. They know it's going to be a fun time. The worst thing is dealing with permitting in Los Angeles, California. There's a major reason why small films don't get made, and it's because they make it incredibly difficult, incredibly expensive for films to be made. Our permitting alone was over $2,000. That's a lot for a short film when you're talking about hiring people and paying people, not maybe rates that they should be paid, but rates where you can be like, it's over minimum wage and we're going to limit our hours. So we're going to pay you decently. But when you have an entity that's just there to give you paperwork and nothing more than that, take a big chunk out of your budget, that sucks.
Certainly, and it's a valid concern for a lot of filmmakers who are out there wanting to create and bring things into the world, as is being done with this project, that there are barriers. And that's why we are reaching out and getting you all involved to be able to help make sure that these things continue to move forward and make the road a little bit easier so that we can bring these projects into the world. So that question also goes to both you, Jonathan, and PJ, about what has been the best part of the production process so far and the worst.
There is something really, really exciting and really, really fun of this script that you sit with for forever, and you're reading and you're tweaking and you're moving these characters around. And there's something really magical about that moment in those first few days when you're on set and you see these actors bring them to life. And not only that, but like the big headache of work that goes in before we even get to production. There is that little moment that I like still always have, like the first day I step on set where I'm like, wow, we actually did it. We're here, we're filming the thing. We're not talking about it anymore. It's not endless Zoom meetings. It's not endless back and forth emails. We're actually filming the thing. And there's still something always like incredibly magic about that. You know, permits are my least favorite thing too, but I'm going to go with night shoot. I'm over 30 now. I have not watched the sunrise since I was like 25. So doing that one overnight shoot, I think there is something that's kind of fun about you hit that magic hour where everyone is a certain level of delirium, but at the same time you're driving home and you're like, oh my God, please just get me home and to bed.
Yeah, so we definitely hit that point of delivery. Like, it was like everything became funny. Thank you for that share. What about yourself, PJ? Your best and worst thing?
As a director, you know, half of your job is making sure that you have got the right people in place to play. And that means your actors, that means even your producers, that means your crew, your DP. Getting to set and seeing all of those decisions that you made for weeks on end start to come together, and it starts to be exactly as you imagined it. And having people that are super collaborative and are enjoying what they're doing, but also being able to partake in your vision and only enhance it. I mean, I think as any filmmaker, that's the dream right there, is to be able to walk on set and everyone is working in tandem for one goal. and that's exactly what we did on this production. And even leading up to this production, Jonathan said, like, seeing it all come together and seeing, Brady playing Aaron and Ben playing Keith, and the brotherhood that they brought to those characters, it was mind-blowing. I mean, you can only dream of seeing those things come to life, and it did. And I think being able to get there and be like, we did it, and we did it, and we did it right, and we did it well, and we're happy with it, I think is the most important thing. The worst thing, I would say, honestly, it was such a joy this whole time. It was ending. It was finishing. I think the worst thing for me was finishing the last day at 5 a.m. and realizing that tomorrow we weren't getting back together and shooting more, because at that point we spent days on end with each other in close spaces, working and just basically creating a family. And so at that end of that last day was like a bittersweet, sad moment. I remember saying to him, was like, till next time, because it wasn't goodbye, it was till next time. I don't think I've walked away from a set feeling like that before, where I was like emotional because we had created the thing exactly the way we thought we were going to, and it just didn't want it to end.
Yes, until next time, because this is the opportunity for you all who are watching here now to be a part of this film, to be a part of the continuation and the finishing of it. So what are we asking for from our audience, from our crowdfunders? What is it that is needed in this moment now to bring this to the finish line?
Our post-production, we have started editing, but we need people that are specialties at coloring, sound mixing. We need a composer to bring it to life with music. Music is a huge part of filmmaking, even if you don't realize it when you're watching something. And we need help with fundraising on the post end of things, because we have it in the can.
We basically need that extra push to kind of get that caliber. We're Hollywood filmmakers. We're in LA, and we want to bring that Hollywood feel, that Hollywood sound, that Hollywood look to what we've already done. And we've already done such a great job, and it looks amazing. And so we want to continue to polish and make that exactly the movie that we imagined when we were sitting there looking at the first draft.
People often see the parts of production, and it gets so romanticized, all the production and the filming and cut and saying action and watching explosions, and that's such a romanticized part. But this is the part of the process where the movie actually becomes the movie. It actually is what you end up seeing on screen. This is where people tend to cut costs the most. And this is where you get the student film look, because they don't do coloring. This is where you get weird sounds because people don't want to spend money on, sound mixing or sound design. So it's really integral for us to make this movie the best it possibly can be by having the right funds to finish the film the way it needs to be finished. It's easy enough to get it in the can. You can shoot a movie on an iPhone and get it in the can, but the thing that elevates it is to bring it through a great post-production process and give it that Hollywood feel and give it that movie feel. Otherwise, it's going to look student filmy. It's going to look really amateur. It's not going to be great. And with not just the four of us here right now, but with the big cast and everything, we want to service their art and their work by bringing this movie home.
The vision is Oscar winning, and to be able to get to that level and that caliber, we need your help. So here's your opportunity to be a part of something really amazing by donating. There's information below, so make sure that you check out and donate. Press that button. Be a part of this movie magic. Yeah, and we'll see you on the big screen. And just in conclusion, I want each of you to share, what is this film and why should someone go and see it? Let's start with the director. Yeah.
Worst thing you've ever done is a story about being marginalized, being somebody who is trying to find their place and feels that there is no place for them. And so they have to make decisions that may or may not be the the right thing to do. At the end of the day, it's about our experiences growing up.
And why should people go and see this film?
People should go see this film because it's a wild ride. I think you'll be very surprised. You'll feel very connected, and at the end of the day, I mean, you'll see the love that we had, for making it, and I think you'll see how much fun we had doing it.
So for Jonathan, what is the worst thing you've ever done, the film, and why should people go and see it?
I mean, look, I'm just gonna say that in an old-fashioned way, it's entertaining. We wanted to make a really entertaining film. We wanted to thrill people. And look, I mean, it's got a lot of great things to it. It's got a huge cast. It's got a great young cast in it. It's giving, Scream vibes, I Know What You Did Last Summer vibes, Talk to Me vibes. It's giving 90s nostalgia. Like, it's got everything you want to see. Like, I mean, I think it's great. It's packed into a short package, which is, like we ideally would like to make more of it for people to enjoy. But I think all in all, it's an entertaining ride. I think people are going to relate to it. I think people are going to walk away remembering something, and they're definitely going to remember that twist.
The twist. You got to stay tuned for that and be a part of the creation of that twist. So definitely make sure that you donate below. And Sabrina, what is the worst thing you've ever done, the film, and why should people go and see it?
As someone who went to high school during the time that this is set, it brings back memories, good and bad. You know these people. Like, every school had these kids in it. And you were either best buddies with them, or you were kind of friendly with them, or maybe you wanted to be in their group. And it's a fun time. It's exciting as well. And we have a great cast and crew that was there that I know will be in every audience yelling and cheering us on, because they had so much fun actually making it, from our grips to our camera guys to producers, all of us. We equally made this film because we couldn't have done it without everyone.
Absolutely beautiful. So to you all who are watching here and now, what's the worst thing you've ever done? Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for helping us push this over the line and bring this film into fruition. And can't wait to see you there.